Watching European leaders demean themselves at Trump's feet, while still being very much aware that they'll have to defend Ukraine on their own, is giving me and the world at large a serious case of geopolitical dry heaves. I might even coin a new disease. I'll call it disgustitis. And still, there's a serious question looming. Why do they do it if they know it's not working? And why does Trump enjoy it so much if he knows it's fake, just like the rest of us know? And when did the news become Trump porn? I recently broke up with a friend because she was too loyal to me. And by loyal, I mean a sycophantic kiss ass who'd never reveal her true feelings while secretly resenting her own groveling ways. It's not the first time this has happened to me. I have strong opinions and I'm not afraid to use them and sometimes also abuse them. So slaves looking for masters misinterpret this as strength and latch onto me like a drowning yes man to a life preserver. Since I'm not a raging narcissist, I find this attitude quite disgusting, which always makes me think of Trump. There's no contest that he is a raging narcissist and so much more on the pathological spectrum. But still, sometimes I wonder why I can't be more like him. It's the lure of the dark side that I sometimes have to keep in check. So what's wrong with loyalty though? Seriously now. What's wrong with a few fake compliments and soothing, albeit cringeworthy, pep talks? Well, on the other side of the equation, what's wrong with telling someone what they want to hear? Don't we want others to feel good around us? Yeah, we do, but not at the detriment of ourselves. That's the problem with loyalty and why it's overrated and dangerous. It kills us to feed others. The issue arises when loyalty becomes excessive or misplaced, leading to negative consequences like blind conformity or unethical behavior, exploitation, stifle growth or stagnation. An equally yoked loyalty is self-abuse for the performer and abuse for the receiver. Expecting loyalty without giving it in return is predatory. Unquestioned loyalty can cause individuals to compromise their integrity, ignore misconduct, remain in harmful relationships, and hinder personal or societal progress by preventing critical thinking and challenging the status quo. Just look at MAGA. They're the perfect example of how harmful loyalty can become when directed at the wrong person. Trump and his regime serve as a textbook case of this sick give and take where everybody gives and there is just one part that takes, and that part is dear leader. Remember Trump's loyal allies who ended up sidelined or betrayed? Here's a quick recap. There was Michael Cohen, once Trump's fixer and self-described pit bull. Cohen cooperated with prosecutors, lied under oath, and became a key witness in Trump's criminal case. Then there's John Bolton, Trump's national security advisor, whose fallout over policy disagreements culminated in his security clearance being revoked and a high-profile FBI raid in 2025, following the release of his critical memoir. Then Michael Flynn, the longtime loyalist who publicly criticized Trump's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, signaling an unprecedented break from the fold. H.R. McMaster, Trump's second national security advisor, who later published a scathing insider memoir and voiced strong criticism of Trump's foreign policy and leadership style. Steve Bannon, from campaign mastermind to enemy. After commenting that parts of Trump's operation resembled a semi-criminal enterprise, Trump publicly disowned him, calling him Sloppy Steve and accusing him of losing his mind. Very typical of Trump. Then there was John Kelly, Mick Mulvaney, Bill Barr, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Mark Esper, Jim Mattis, a collection of high-ranking former Trump officials who turned into vocal critics, warning that this leadership threatened democratic norms and stability. And let's not forget Epstein, who, luckily for him, is now dead, but otherwise he'd have been discarded by King Orange I of the USA. Of course, there were many others who fell out or were dumped in the process. These figures range from loyal enforcers to trusted advisors to friends, yet each one saw the relationship with the king depend on usefulness, not integrity. Once Trump no longer found them advantageous, or worse, they turned reality back at him, they got sidelined, legally attacked, or submerged into the court of public criticism. That's what's so wrong with this concept. We almost always gift loyalty to the wrong people. It's the same concept that keeps us in abusive relationships with partners or friends for whom loyalty is a foreign concept. It's the same idea that keeps us in awful jobs because the company needs us. No, it doesn't. It never does. And if it needs us, it should pay us accordingly. The same feeling that keeps us glued to parents who demeaned and abused us our entire lives, or emotionally incapacitated us just to make sure we'll never rise higher than they did. Oh yeah, it sounds horrendous, but some people do that, intentionally or not. To people like Trump, loyalty belongs to the slave. He would never even dream of being loyal to anyone, but demands it as a main feature from all his people, because he imagines that without it, they would do the same thing he does, betray him. So he discards and betrays first. After all, he's the one who coined the phrase, "In life, there are two types of people, killers and losers." Now, what do you think he considers loyal people to be? Killers or losers? Losers, obviously. He's the killer, and he's using losers to build his empire. Sadly, there are two sides to this coin. Trump only succeeds at using loyal people because they're also willing to accept being used in the name of God knows what noble concept. They're loyal beyond measure, they sacrifice common sense in the process, and they do it for a person who doesn't reward loyalty, but uses it. The dangers of loyalty, especially towards the wrong person, are never talked about enough, because loyalty is always touted as a virtuous characteristic. However, here are the downfalls, at least some of them. You lose your voice. Blind loyalty forces you to silence your own judgment. That kills growth, integrity, and credibility. You're not respected. You're tolerated. That's one reason why people pleasers are constantly abandoned. They get no respect, and the person they try to please also feels disrespected. Do you think Trump has any respect for the people who try to please him? Not a chance. Second one, you inherit their downfall and become complicit. If the person you're loyal to crashes and burns, you go down with them even if you weren't the one driving. When you defend every bad decision, their corruption becomes yours. History doesn't separate the loyal from the leader. They get lumped together, and for good reason. In a crime investigation, if you're an accomplice or accessory to murder, you also get punished. Again, for good reason. We're all adults here. We should know better. 3. You get stuck in mediocrity. Loyalty locks you into protecting someone else's ego instead of building your own path. That means less opportunity, less power, less future, which I can only hope will happen to all the Trumpian sycophants out there. And then you sacrifice respect for access. People may look at you or even fear you as the loyal guard dog, but they'll never truly respect you. And once your leader turns, you're left with nothing. 5. It's easy. Loyalty is easy. It's much easier to fiercely support someone else's cause than come up with your own and fight for it until the day you die. Or until the day you succeed. Trump knows that. And he's using it like there's no way he could ever lose. He's shameless about his cause. He's screaming it from the mountaintops. He wrapped it up pretty in a red, white, and blue America First bow. But it really is Trump first. That's the dirty truth. Loyalty is rarely noble. Usually it's just lazy. It feels good because you don't have to think, you just obey. But the cost is integrity, freedom, future. Misplaced loyalty doesn't build empires. It builds cages. Trump proved it 1,000 times with every loyal idiot who lined up to kiss the ring. Thank you for being here today. I hope to see you next time too. Bye.